Hey Wobble Gang, I do hope you're doing great. My name is Ollie. Hit that subscribe button if you love a good Reddit story. Alright, let's get into our first story of the day. The first story comes from a throwaway account in the relationship advice subreddit, and it says, I, 34 male, and my fiancée, 27 female, are in the process of calling a halt to our wedding as she has asked for an open relationship. Alright folks, where to start? This one is tough to type, and my hands are shaking as I'm doing it. As it says in the title, my fiancé, or possibly ex-fiancé, and I are 34 and 27 respectively. We have been together for nearly 4 years overall, and have been engaged for a year. I'll be totally honest here. Just before we got engaged, she had an emotional affair with a man she worked with. I only found out because one of her friend's boyfriends contacted me and said that he overheard the friend group discussing it. I confronted her at the time, and after a good bit of arguing and hassle, we came to an agreement to let it go. I'll be totally honest in saying that I'm still slightly in the process of getting over that particular incident, and it affected how I view her. I manned up, moved on, and proposed, which I'd planned on doing anyway. This is just to give an overall context here, and indeed to let it be known that there have been issues in the past. Fast forward to the present time. We are due to be married in November and are travelling abroad for it with family. Back around October, she started acting a bit odd. She became distant, not herself, and seemed to be daydreaming. She even stopped being intimate, which was very strange. I attributed it to the stress around organising the wedding and the fact that we had moved to a new flat. Fast forward to Christmas time, and now things are coming to a head. I confronted her directly, and she told me she was sorry and had just been stressed. I was very considerate and tried to help her through it. However, it basically continued to ebb and flow throughout the next 2 months, up to yesterday. I arrived home from work last night and she said she wanted to talk. The vibe was bad, guys, I could tell. We sat down and she explained that she had been reading and that she wasn't having second thoughts about the marriage, but about the nature of our relationship. At this point, I was getting a bit agitated and demanded that she explain what on earth she meant. Basically, a few of her friends had, back in October, the times matched up, suggested the idea of an open relationship. Basically, they stay with their partners and have one-night stands on nights out if they fancy it. I'll be honest, the idea made me ill. I said this to her and she asked me to hear her out. She pulled out an online blog post by a blogger who had a husband and a live-in boyfriend. I got halfway through and told her enough of this nonsense. I don't consider myself old-fashioned, but a wife or fiancé having relations with other men will never be acceptable. Not in my world, anyway. We got into a fight and, in the end, she was begging me to give it a chance and said that nothing is set in stone. I basically said that I needed some space and that I'd spend the weekend at my friend's place. It was quick after that, and I left without a fuss. I'm typing this on my friend's laptop, and I'm in a bad mental state at the moment. I am seriously considering calling the whole thing off, both the relationship and the wedding. I suppose if anyone has been in a similar place, I could use some advice. TLDR, I am 34, male, and my fiancée is 27, female. She asked for an open relationship, and I am upset. I swear, I've read a lot of crazy stories, but this one takes the cake. Let me tell you, the audacity of some people astounds me. This poor bloke's just trying to navigate the stormy seas of relationships, and here comes his fiancée, throwing the anchor overboard and asking for an open relationship. I mean, are we serious right now? First, there was an emotional affair, which apparently we're just supposed to gloss over because reasons? And now, she's suggesting a scenario ripped straight from a cheap sitcom. You know, the kind where everything goes wrong and you're just sitting there, popcorn in hand, unable to look away. And you know what makes it worse? The friends. Oh yes, the friends planting ideas like weeds, suggesting she explore these so-called alternative relationship dynamics. It's absurd, really. Honestly, I can't blame the guy for wanting some headspace. I'd need a bloody map to navigate this mess. If you're listening to this, you felt that too. What's next? Is she going to suggest a commune? Really? The cheek of it. If he ditches this circus, he deserves a medal just for enduring this farce.
Mummy B says, This is a deal breaker. You don't want an open relationship and she does. There's no in between. Don't marry her. If she wants multiple relationships, she'll seek them extramaritally anyway. Don't allow yourself that level of hurt when you can see it coming. Someone says, she's begging you for an open relationship, and her friends are encouraging it, and we're hiding the initial affair? What the heck is wrong with people? Thank goodness one of their boyfriends has a soul and told you. Seriously, do you want to live the rest of your life with a secretive, selfish wife and her shrew friends plotting behind your back all the time? Most people have been suggesting, but I'm telling you to get the heck out now. It'll hurt, but it will hurt a lot more several years down the road if you marry her and inevitably find her cheating. That or what? You become a subservient little house husband that lets his wife be intimate with whoever, whenever? Some others have said it, but chances are she's already cheating. All the signs are there. And she's trying to retroactively validate it. Leave. Work on yourself. Get the heck out of there. You had clear set parameters for a relationship, and she wants to rewrite the rules to suit her and her untrustworthy friends.
Big Tit Brit 89 says, I think if she truly wants an open relationship, you need to call it quits. There is no compromise there. One of you is bending to the other's will. You should not have to compromise and let her do this. And she should find someone that's on the same page. However, it also sounds like she may be having some jealousy issues, overhearing her friends' stories about their arrangement. She is going to ruin a good thing if you're getting married. Your relationship is obviously in good standing, and she'll be ruining it over a wish to have, what, a few wild times? Sounds like she's getting caught up in an idea and not fully thinking it out. Best of luck. This sounds like quite the predicament. Aussie Lander comments, she wasn't having second thoughts about the marriage, but the nature of our relationship. She wants the safety net of a relationship while being involved with other guys. I am seriously considering calling the whole thing off, both the relationship and the wedding. Why haven't you already called it off? Look on the bright side. She could have waited until after the wedding to betray you. Just a day later, the OP comes with an update and says, hello everyone, I mentioned that I'd post an update, largely due to the overwhelming response I received yesterday. In many ways, I was only posting to process the situation in my head, but I found many great pieces of advice and support in the responses. Thanks to everyone who contributed. I spent last night at my friend's place, who was incredibly supportive about the situation. He basically gave advice that mirrored what was suggested in the comments, which was to end the relationship. We had a few drinks, some light-hearted conversation, and this morning I returned to the apartment and confronted her. She was there. Neither of us work on Saturdays, and I expressed my stance as clearly as I could. In essence, I said that I didn't want to continue with the relationship, and that it's better if we end it. The wedding details are primarily financial and not too difficult to call off, but at this rate, we couldn't continue together as we clearly wanted different things. She expressed what she felt at the time, that we still had a chance, that it could work, and that we should give sexual freedom a chance. Look, I'm no extreme conservative, but this just doesn't align with my values. I told her that over the weekend I'd come to collect my things. It's a rented flat in town, so no big commitment there. And she could keep the place if she wanted. I'll stay with my friend for a while and get myself sorted after. Towards the end, we had a full-blown shouting match, but I held my ground and didn't change my course. Not this time, folks. I left, and there's not much more to say, really. As I type this, my friend and I are having a few drinks, and my phone has been buzzing since 5 o'clock with calls from her friends and her sister, calling me a jerk and a sexist for some reason. I'll be fine. To be completely honest, I feel a bit liberated, if that's not too cliché. In the coming days, I'll get everything sorted out, the moving and such. But as my father used to say, there's always something worse.
Great-faced dude says, I doubt she is telling the truth about why you broke up, so don't be alarmed by her friends and family attacking you. All you did was avoid a future divorce when you caught her cheating on you, or when she dumped you for some other guy. Capulet says, "Give sexual freedom a chance," you said. My response, "We are giving sexual freedom a chance. You now have unlimited sexual freedom. Good luck." My phone has been exploding since 5 o'clock with her friends and her sister, calling me a prick and a sexist. $5 says that your ex hasn't told her friends and sister what the breakup was actually about. Edit. Oh, wait. Are these the same friends who encouraged her to ask for an open relationship in the first place? The friends that I'd bet half of them are actually cheating on their significant others? Hog Itch says, "But as my father used to say, there's always something worse." Yeah, staying with her. Good work, original poster. Proud of you, dude. If she wants to be with other guys, she can do it without compromising her relationship or find a relationship where that's acceptable. Her trying to manipulate you into thinking is okay is not okay. Again, good work, original poster. You're going to be much better from here on out, and the one you're looking for is out there for you.
The next story comes from Doc I Am Tired in the Am I the A-Hole subreddit. And it says, "Am I the a-hole for not being very strict with my daughter at my house compared to my ex-wife, which has led to my ex-wife and I exchanging some words with each other?" Update at bottom. I, 43 male, have a daughter, 16 female, with whom I share joint custody with my ex-wife, 39 female. We got divorced when my daughter was a baby, and the court awarded 50-50 custody to both of us. I will admit, though, being a doctor comes with its consequences. I haven't been as present as I wish I could have been. When my daughter was 13, she started telling me things that her mum does, or rules that she has in place over her, and how she thinks it's unfair. I'd listen to her and advise her to talk to her mum. My daughter would then ask if she has to obey those rules over here still, to which I said no. At first, it was just small stuff that I find nitpicky, things like not being able to eat in the living room. As she's gotten older, she started making more requests for privileges in my house, and it's pretty much gone like this. Example 1. Mum doesn't let me hang out with friends during the week. Well, that's dumb. If you have a ride there and back, you can go with your friends. Example 2. Mum doesn't let me wear comfortable clothes around the house. She says I have to dress modestly. You can walk around the house naked for all I care. Example 3. You and Mum's houses don't have locks on my bedroom door. There isn't a lock. I can call someone to have a lock installed for you if you want. Example 4. Mum doesn't let me drink soda. Do you want soda? If so, I can order it with our groceries. You get the idea. I don't want to say I've become a doormat for my daughter, but I'm not nearly as strict about rules. It's her house just as much as it's mine in my eyes. My ex-wife recently has been going off on my daughter and me about how I'm letting her get away with anything and everything, and how my lack of discipline at my house is causing her to break rules at her mother's house. I told my ex-wife that she should ease up on our daughter because she's almost an adult and doesn't need to be treated like a toddler. My ex-wife went bananas over the phone with me, and at her house, she went off on my daughter for being an undisciplined brat. My ex-wife is threatening to take me to court for custody if I don't straighten up my act, and I told her she could kiss my ass. It has me wondering, though. Am I being an a-hole to my ex-wife? Is this bad dad behavior? I want my daughter to feel safe, comfortable, and happy, and I want to believe I'm achieving that. If I am being an a-hole to my ex-wife, what should I do? Update. I have been talking to my daughter and ex-wife over the last several hours and have figured out a few things. 1. There is no other permanent resident at my ex's house. No boyfriend, no husband, no other kids, nothing like that. My ex does have this book club thing she hosts and has guests once a month, but all are adults. 2. My ex-wife doesn't let my daughter have a lock on her door because, and I quote, "because I'm not going to give her the ability to hide her Zaza or boyfriends she is sleeping with." 3. My ex doesn't let my daughter see her friends during the week because she says her friends are distractions to school. However, her report card says she is doing just fine academically. 4. My ex doesn't just control what she wears, but also won't let her use makeup or even watch/consume adult media. My daughter says that my ex called her attire unmodest one time because she was wearing a shirt with no bra. My ex denies saying this, but I wouldn't put it past her. 5. I asked my daughter if she would be okay with me searching her room, and my daughter said she had nothing to hide. I looked around, and guess what? No Zaza, no vapes, no illegal plans to take over the US government, nothing like that. Normal 16-year-old girl's room. 6. I asked my daughter if she would have a problem with me putting Life 360 on her phone so I can see where she goes. She handed me her phone and said, again, she has nothing to hide, so she doesn't care. 7. I did talk to my daughter about her attitude and treatment towards her mother. She agreed that she has been acting out and said she will text or call me if she has an issue with something her mum is doing. She said she will respect her mother's rules, but she did ask me to talk to her about her mother's comments about her body. Apparently, my daughter feels like her mother is inappropriately focusing on her and her body, and it makes her uncomfortable. I agreed to talk to her mum about it. So far, that conversation is deadlocked because her mum will not let up on her whole modesty issue. 8. My daughter told my ex that she tried to take me to court. My daughter will ask a judge to live with me full time. More updates to come. Thank you all for your input.
Man, I'm actually speechless. I mean, what even is happening here?
So we've got a father, a supposedly busy doctor, who's just trying to make his daughter's life a bit more, I don't know, normal? Here's where I lost it. He's literally just saying, you do you, and not treating her like a prisoner in her own home. Oh my, this is really sad. I mean, imagine needing a lock on your door just to feel somewhat secure, and even then, being denied because of what? Hypothetical drug smuggling habits? Are we serious right now? And you know what makes it worse? The ex-wife's neurotic control spree. It's like, give your daughter some space to breathe, for crying out loud. The girl's 16, not 6, I swear. I've read a lot of crazy stories, but this one. Honestly, the mum's going ballistic like it's a competition for Parent of the Year. Discipline's one thing, but punishing her for wearing comfy clothes and calling it modesty? Come on. If OP survives this without losing his sanity, he deserves a medal. Drop your thoughts below, because I need therapy after this. If you're listening to this, you felt that too. What's the excuse this time, huh? Absolutely bonkers.
Someone says, not the a-hole. The clothes and the door lock concern me. Is your ex remarried? Are there other kids in the house? Policing what she wears at home and calling it modest makes it seem like your child is some sort of sexual object and not a kid. Then the lock. It really sounds like she wants to keep people out. You should ask her about that more in depth. The other things, some people are more strict on than others. Your ex cannot control what happens in your house. Whether she likes it or not, you are an equal parent. OP provides more information in the comments by stating, now that you mentioned the lock thing, that does seem concerning. I just pass it off as she wants her own privacy and left it as that. Before my daughter mentioned it, I didn't even know the door didn't have a lock.
8 days later, the OP comes with an update, and it says, I just want to say thank you to everyone who gave their input on the situation. Over the past 7 days, I've been going through a lot of stress between work, my daughter's reaction, and my ex-wife. To start, last Sunday, I had very long discussions with my ex-wife about our daughter. To not ramble on, my daughter says it's called yapping now. I'll give you the short version. My ex-wife says that she has to be strict on my daughter so she doesn't turn out bad. She doesn't let my daughter wear makeup, hang out with her friends during the week, eat certain foods and drink certain drinks, consume certain media, have locks on her door, wear certain clothes, and she makes my daughter text her every hour she's not at school but out of the house on weekends, detailing who she is with, where she is at, and what they are doing. I talked to my daughter about her mother, and my daughter says her life over there is stressful, feeling like she's always being watched. She feels like she has no freedoms or autonomy and is at the mercy of her mother. My daughter did admit that she has been acting out recently at her mother's house, but I can't really blame her. I talked to one of my female co-workers who has 3 daughters about the situation I'm in. She said she is worried about my ex-wife mentally abusing my daughter, and I agreed. Some of you online also pointed out that my ex-wife could be sexualizing and objectifying my daughter to which I've also come to agree. I knew my daughter and my ex-wife have issues and have been butting heads on and off now for a while, but I didn't know it was this bad. Regardless, I talked to my daughter about her mother's rules at her house. If her mother doesn't want her eating in the living room or drinking Sprite, she's allowed to have that rule. I told her she cannot like it all she wants, but at the end of the day, they are not unreasonable requests. My daughter, though, very firmly asked me to talk to my ex-wife about the things that bug her the most. Those things are what she can and cannot wear in the house, a lock on her door, and the rules in place about her friends, only on the weekends and texting her mum constantly. I asked my daughter if she would be okay with me tracking her on Life 360, and she said she's okay with me tracking her, but not her mother. My daughter tells me pretty much everything, though sometimes I wish she didn't overshare information I don't need to know about. And she said she trusts me and knows I trust her. But she doesn't want her mum to be able to track her at all hours of the day. The lock on her door was something else we discussed. I asked my daughter why she wanted a lock on her door, and she provided information I absolutely did not need to know. But basically, she wants privacy and to be alone sometimes. I checked her room out, with her in the room, and didn't find anything like drugs or plans to overthrow the Illuminati, so she's good on that front. When I asked her mother why she can't have a lock, she said it's because she, and I quote, doesn't want her having sex, doing drugs, or hiding things from her. Apparently, my ex-wife just barges into her room and searches her things. I found that to be ridiculous and a complete violation of my daughter's privacy, and I voiced my frustrations to my ex about it. No wonder my ex doesn't know any of my daughter and I's little secret, that she's bisexual. She can't even trust her mother not to go through her belongings. Next, the whole issue about what she does and doesn't wear in the house. In my house, I couldn't care less. Usually she walks around in a shirt with no bra, wearing boxers or something similar. Sometimes she wears normal clothes. Sometimes she goes nude. Sometimes she wears one of those full-body pajama suits. I don't mind, but she knows the rules about it. She has to leave the house wearing normal clothes and needs to have normal clothes on when guests are at the house. When she's there alone or with me, she can do whatever she likes. Her mum, on the other hand, has been sexualizing her daughter and making incredibly suggestive comments about her body. My ex denies doing this, but I don't think my daughter would lie about it. And knowing my ex-wife, she 100% said it. My ex has said my daughter dresses provocatively, flaunts herself like an exotic dancer, and is not a modest woman. Needless to say, this angered me immensely, and we exchanged some heated words over the topic. My daughter came over to the house today for our 50-50 custody swap, and immediately went and locked herself in her room. At first, I thought maybe she was going to go FaceTime her friends or something, so I let it be for a bit. But after she didn't come out after an hour or so, I knocked on her door. My daughter had been crying. I asked why, and she said that my ex told her she's going to take me to court and ensure I won't see her again. Just got done consoling my heartbroken daughter, typing all of this out with her tears and snot on my nice shirt. There's the update. I say game on to my ex-wife.
Neely Suvaleaf says, "Oh my, your daughter is 16 and doesn't want to live with her. Your ex is going to get an unpleasant surprise." Marie Norway says, "Good luck. Hope you get 100% custody. Also, not to be rude, but the naked part is a bit weird. Not to shame, but there is a normal development for kids to start dressing in front of parents when the child phase is sort of over. This applies to both boys and girls. It's not about sexualizing, but rather about appropriate behavior, which is essentially what's expected within the norms of society, and is also a part of psychological development. It's not shaming to tell her to wear clothes like shorts and a tank top. It's the norm." OP Pops responds, "Like I mentioned in another part, she doesn't do that often and mostly just walks around without a bra and in boxers. I do see your point though, and I don't think that's a bad idea. I'll talk to her about it." Sensitive Note 1139 says, "You are not the a-hole. I realize you aren't sexualizing your daughter, which is great, but walking around the house nude is not going to sit well with a judge. If your ex knows about that, expect it to hit full force. It sounds like your ex is going to have a hard time getting your custody revoked. Get a good lawyer if you don't have one yet. She's liable to pull every trick in the book to take your daughter from you.
I grew up with parents who were convinced I was doing something in my room and went through my stuff all the time. It was so bad that my brother joined in when he was home alone. I have never forgiven them for it. I didn't like spending time with my abusive and controlling family, so I hid in my room. It was common for my mom to come in at least once an hour to make sure I wasn't doing anything she didn't approve of. My father, thankfully, unalived when I was 20. I'm no contact with my mom, in part because of horrific rules like these. That's what your ex is looking forward to in the future. Her daughter is going to cut her off. Ex deserves what's coming.
All right, folks, let's wrap it up right here. I've just had an emotional roller coaster thrown at me with this story. It's like living through a soap opera in real time. And let me tell you, reality is always stranger, weirder, and more annoying than fiction. Can we just take a moment to give this dad a virtual pat on the back for keeping it together? He's trying to navigate a minefield of teen drama, a turbulent co-parenting situation, and honestly, who's got time for this level of stress every day? Listen, if you're feeling as fired up, bewildered, or just plain entertained by what we've heard today, don't hover away just yet. I'd love to hear your own crazy stories or thoughts about this whole debacle in the comments below. Do you have tales of navigating the parenting labyrinth? Let's keep a dialogue open because, honestly, who doesn't enjoy a little community therapy every now and then? Don't forget to smash that like button if you enjoyed this and subscribe if you want more rants, raves, and reality checks in your feed. Until next time, stay sane and keep your sense of humor. Cheers!